Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 3 of Imperfectly Graceful with Harjot and Rhonda. You all know that I'm a mindset and leadership coach, and Rhonda is a feminine leadership coach. Today is an important episode for us as colored women because this was one of the reasons why we started this show to bridge gaps and share that as women of color, as women, first of all, and women of color and women whose English language is not the first language, English is not the first language, and come from different backgrounds, different cultures. We wanted to come out here and share our perspectives and views and really show that although we come from different backgrounds and may look different from each other, we all do go through challenges. Some of them might be different, but the fact that we all go through different mindset challenges, unique mindset challenges as women of color, especially as online entrepreneurs in the coaching industry, where we are still the minority. And it's not to say that we're trying to play victims or to shame anyone, but we wanted to just feel empowered and be able to share our thoughts about the unique challenges we face and how we overcome them, so that it can give permission to all women facing different kinds of challenges and really be okay with going through them. Having said that, we all know that the world has been hit by this pandemic, COVID-19. We have so much to say on that, so maybe we'll do another episode, but we wanted to just start the show up by addressing a little bit about the panic that's going on around the world, and how to sit in love instead of fear right now, because as humans, as collective conscious beings, this is a time for us to come together and be responsible, be mindful, and just not be stupid. So don't be stupid. Rhonda, do you want to say something on it first? Then I'll say it, and then we'll get into our topic.
Yeah, I want to say, this is something very new, and we're not prepared for this on any type of level. And it's normal that we are scared for our own well-being and that of our loved ones as well. But freaking out is definitely not a good way to act amidst really any situation. So it would always serve us to again, think collectively, not think just for myself or my own well-being at the expense of that of the others, because I think we have all seen that, if anything, this pandemic has been eliciting reactions from people to come into solidarity and compassion and empathy. There are a few who are just panicking, they're freaking out, they're fighting over toilet paper, but on the other hand, there are also these people who are coming in together in support, and number one is healthcare professionals all over the world. They deserve the biggest thank you for their dedicated work and their sacrifice as well. So I think if we focus on these beautiful things that are happening in the world, and be grateful for what we have, and not go into that mode of fight or flight, it won't just serve us, it would definitely serve others. I mean, we have a lesson to learn here, right? This should bring us, I know, not bring us together physically. That's not the healthy thing, given we're supposed to distance ourselves socially, but at heart we need to come together, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for sharing that, and I agree with you. I share the same views, and at the same time, I completely agree and accept and open to the fact that as humans who are here to have human experiences, it is completely okay to feel fear, to want to protect yourself, and to want to be prepared. But there's we need to sit in love while we do that and not panic and not freak out, because one, it's not good for our immune system. Stress is just not good. Fight or flight is not good for us. It weakens our immune system. I'm sure everyone's heard that. Don't stress, don't panic. Yet if you are, don't feel wrong for feeling that. It's okay. I'm super protective over my family, so I'm taking preventative measures. It's important to know that the reason behind protecting yourself isn't so much as a young person that you're going to be experiencing the fatal effects of this virus. It's to protect the vulnerable people who would practice patience, love, and wait it out. Be prepared, but don't hoard. Please don't hoard. It's crazy what's happening in North America. It's like people are like vultures. They're fighting over toilet paper. We are better than that. Rise above. Rise above the stupidity. Let's just be. And the other thing, I want to say something to the spiritual community. Spiritual community, I love you guys, but I don't think it's very evolved for us to judge other people. I don't think every healthcare worker or government professional or civic servants are part of a government propaganda. This is really happening, and don't be stupid. Protect yourself. Be responsible, and protect others too. Right? Yeah. So today's topic is important. It was one of the reasons why we started this Imperfectly Graceful. It's going to be hard to talk about some of the things because these are the unique mindset challenges Rhonda and I work on as women of color, as women whose English is the second language, and we come from different cultures, and we have various spiritual views. In an industry like an online coaching industry, some of us face different challenges, mindset challenges, and although we're intelligent women, we work on them. We just wanted to come on here and share our perspectives and share our experiences, not in a way to be seen as victims, because we are certainly not victims, not to be seen as seeking your sympathy. We are not. We're just here to share our truth, and we want to be able to give ourselves permission to do that, and at the same time give other women to permission to do the same, to own themselves, and if they come from different backgrounds, to feel okay about that, because we're global citizens. On the internet, we can express ourselves openly, and I think it's a wonderful thing. However, in the process of doing that, everyone will face unique roadblocks, and my color, my background, my background is one of the mindset factors I work on consistently, because as much as you see me as this confident person who's outspoken, who's outgoing, and is able to hold a really good intellectual conversation and be a damn good coach, I do have my own mindset issues, and they do stem from discrimination that I've had to face, family had to face, in general, people of color have to face. And I do it in a way not to feel like these things stop me in any way, but I do want to share that it is something I work on. And in an online industry, especially the coaching industry, where we are still the minority, we want to share different perspectives and the things that we face. I'm repeating myself, but Rhonda, what do you want to say on that? Like, what are we talking about? What is something that you want to share with all the women today?
Yeah, thank you. Like you said, Harjo, this is not going to be easy for us to express, and I think that's what we're talking about, how uneasy it is for us to express that part within ourselves,
yeah,
in our businesses.
yeah.
And to me, being a Lebanese woman, my background, I'm an Arab, and I cater to international women, and I have worked with women in the US, in Australia, Africa, and the Middle East as well. But sometimes and the thing is, okay, I being a feminine leadership coach, I'm always talking about embracing all the hot mess that we are, all the parts within ourselves, and just flaunting them to the world. And you know, I am still in that process, because like, to me it's a journey. Every day I discover something new within myself that I'm open to embody. But when it comes to being uh, born and raised in this culture, and then you know, in my business, I hear voices telling me, you have to speak the language of your client. The client has to relate to what you're saying. And this kind of pushes me to hide certain parts about me, hide that part about my background, for fear that others won't relate or won't like what I have to share. This is number one. Number two, being an Arab, it's like, what if people are going to freak out? You know, especially people in the States and in Europe, you know, where um, certain, like even certain words I can't, I feel like I'd rather like stay away from, and like not fully express that part within me to my followers, and that kind of lets my inner critic like jump in, and it starts telling me, you're not walking the talk. You're like telling women to express all parts within themselves, yes, yet you're not doing that. And so I'm like um trying to weigh in that, you know, I'm a businesswoman. I have to write my message in a way that is relatable to other women, and then I'm hiding that part. Why am I hiding that part? And so this is something I continuously work on. What does it look like to you, Harjo? In your case, how does it look like?
I relate so much to what you were saying. First of all, thank you. Like, this is why I respect you so much as a human and appreciate you and glad that you're in my life, because you give me so much permission to be vulnerable and always remind me to do the same, because that is something that I have struggled in the past, because I'd rather be seen as this strong person, although that's not like always putting on a strong front is not the strong thing to do. I relate to that.
Exactly.
You know, like I was kind of writing down the gist of what you were saying, just because I love to like reflect on what we talk about after. It's just so helpful to me. You know, the fear that, am I relatable? Hello, that's the thought that's going through my mind too, especially in the beginning. That was when I switched over to online coaching. That was a thing. Am I relatable to people? I look different, I sound different. I am a deep person. We're both deep person people. So some of the things we say can be a little deep, right? Um, the other thing that you said I really relate to is hold back on self-expression. You know, when you were saying that when you're expressing, you constantly um, are doing it in a way where there's a part of you that isn't fully expressing, out of the fear that, are you going to be judged? Are you going to um, feel like this is too much for people, like especially being Arab. And while I will never understand that struggle, um, coming from a community that's constantly scrutinized because of, terrorism, I'm just going to go ahead and say that.
Yeah.
People might not trust, and I know that you're also evolved enough to know why that fear is there in people, but it's unfair to sometimes be at the receiving end of that, the judgment because of it. Um, so holding back on self-expression is another thing, a mindset thing that I had to work on and that I constantly work on. The other thing is the hard inner critic that you said, like, your inner critic is saying, what, are you not walking the talk? Same, these are some of the things I faced as well. Oh my God, I see, this is really uncomfortable because I want everyone to know who's watching this, the purpose of us sharing this is not to shame anyone, especially other women. We would never do that. We're coming from a place of love and wanting to share our truth. Before I started this, I consistently saw, women like posting, sharing their story, owning their story. And while I'm always happy to do that, when I see somebody from a group of women from a privileged group, like Caucasian women, owning their truth, I love that. I want to be able to do the same. However, I have seen other women of color attacked and being criticized for playing the victim when they talk about their race story, when they talk about their discrimination and their hardships, or the opportunities they may not have gotten because they come from either they're a person of color, or they're specially abled, or they belong to the LGBTQ community. I see them being attacked and criticized for playing the victim, and that stops me from sometimes sharing my story of how I am a woman of color and English is not my first language, and I come from this amazing culture that I want to be able to share this spiritual wisdom that comes from my culture, like in India, the ancient knowledge. I Now not so much. I used to hold back on that, thinking, am I going to be judged? And then I saw the spiritual community, commercialized spiritual community, making profits off of that, where Caucasian spiritual individuals are openly talking about things from my culture and not feeling victimized because of it. And while I sat there and thinking, is that going to be too much for people? Now, I take full responsibility for having these feelings, and I also take full responsibility for working through these mindset blocks, because I'm a very autonomous person and I feel responsible for the way I live my life. I deeply believe that my race, my background, any circumstances in my life are, I decided they are not going to be factors in hindering my growth in any way. So I am not at all saying, oh, because of these things, I can't get ahead. Not at all my thought process. What I'm really sharing is these are the mindset things I work on, and they may not be related to a money mindset. They may not be related to, you know, what's the other mindset thing that we, like, I'm not being scarce. These are the things we have experienced, and they're part of my story. So if I'm to share that, I faced racism, I faced bullying in high school, it's not to play the victim or seek pity or seek your sympathy. It's because that is my frigging story, and I want to freaking come here and own the shit out of that. Not so that you could feel bad for me, so that I can empower another person who's felt that. Is that making sense?
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Because especially that part where we're talking about sharing your story, and this is something that I have experienced. I know the importance of sharing our stories, and like, why are we even doing this show? It's because we want to tell other women that they're not alone with what they're going through. We go through the same challenges, like on the inside they're practically the same challenges, but they would feel different on the outside. But what kind of emotions they would elicit on the inside, and the immense amount of courage and strength they require from us is the same. So we're all going through that pain at some point. And then there's some of us who feel like they can deny others their pain, however that shows up, like however that looks like. And sometimes I think it's okay if others, they don't relate to my pain. Sometimes I don't relate to other people's pain, people who like I don't live their life, or I know nothing about their culture or what they have to go through. It's okay. Like I don't, again, like you said, we're not judging here.
Yeah.
But um, it does affect us. Like for example, when I shared the other day something in a group about it was a post about women empowerment, feminine leadership, my thing, and I was sharing how I am criticized in my culture that you're too demanding, your head's in the clouds, you will probably end up alone all your life, you'll never get married because you're too demanding, and so I'm sharing that from a place of wanting to empower women, because women disempowerment, it is one thing that exists across all cultures. It exists everywhere. How it looks like for every culture is it's different,
Yeah.
but it is there. Like it is at the basis of so many practices that disempower women.
That's a great
But
point.
then, yeah. But then, although like so many comments from so many ladies, they totally related to what I'm saying. But then one of them, she was like, "Oh, I've never had anyone speak those words to me. Like, where do you come from? Where do you live?" And it made me feel like, do I live in my own bubble, or do I live on another planet?
Well, that is true,
And
everyone. Rhonda is not a human and she's not from Mother Earth.
from Venus, maybe. But
Yeah.
but yeah, it did make me okay. I know I'm all about embodying the powerful feminine within me, and I do it in so many ways. But and I did it through that post by vulnerably sharing and owning really my story, and empowering women, encouraging them that you don't have to listen to all of that BS around you.
Yeah.
But then that lady, she um, maybe she's not coming from a place of judgment. Maybe she's just, she thought that that is strange. Maybe for me, if another lady was talking about something that I can't relate to, then I may have that same reaction. But um, it did make me feel a little bit uncomfortable. Like it didn't just
It
I
triggered
didn't
you.
just brush
It
it off.
triggered.
Yeah, it did. It did. It did. Because I have that belief that I'm constantly working on,
Mm,
maybe I should only share stuff that
yeah.
other people have experienced. But then, if I'm only sharing what others have experienced, then I'm not giving myself the permission to own my own experiences, or even learn my own lessons and share them with the world. And who gets to decide? Who gets to say that this is something that others relate to, and this is something that like no one would
Yeah.
relate to, right? I think it's just our limiting beliefs, our ego
The
is
mindset thing. Yeah.
um yeah, playing that
For sure.
yeah.
Yeah. No, for sure. It definitely is. But at the same time, we don't want to take away from the fact that millions of people around the world are scrutinized based on their differentness and miss out on opportunities because of that. So while that is a limiting beliefs a lot of people would carry, like we carry, and we're privileged enough to work on that and show up and fully own that and work through that and not make it a thing that stops us. Instead, use it as um, a pillar to like thrive and create newness around and create new demands around like the differentness different perspectives that we're sharing. I don't want to take away the fact that there's people around the world every day who are facing difficulties because of their race, because of their different backgrounds, because of their special abilities and or their preferences in life. And we're not saying that is just a mindset issue. It's not just a mindset issue. It is a deeply ingrained situation around the world that many people face. But we're saying when we are choosing to get through those mindset blocks in our businesses in a way that empowers us, and we don't want to sit here and pretend like we have all the mindset stuff worked out. No,
Yeah.
specifically there's many things we work on our mindset, but this is something it's just so important for both of us to share. Like, for example, for the longest time I wasn't talking about, you know, spirituality, and I felt not aligned with the things that I was saying because I am a hugely spiritual person. It is just who I am, and to not talk about that felt like there was a huge chunk of my belief system, who I am, I wasn't sharing. And to be honest, that was still uncomfortable, even though there are people who are using the stuff that I believe in ways and creating profit off of that, and more power to them. Like, they're owning that. And so the mindset belief around that I was working on is that if there's something that I really believe in, what is really stopping me from sharing that? You know, it's taken me a long time to finally just embrace and the spirituality and my views and share them, because I'm only available for owning my story and creating a new perspective and owning that narrative. It's so important to own the narrative. I think it's also part of that mindset work is it's easy to pretend like this is not an issue, but the wiser thing to do is acknowledge this is an issue that I need to work on. This is a situation. This is a real situation many people face. But in my business, I have the opportunity to create a new perspective and actually use that to empower myself and the people I serve. Instead of thinking I'm different, nobody's gonna relate to me, because that's another thing. Am I relatable? Like, and it's just changing the perspective, owning the narrative, and presenting in a way that helps other people. Because really, business is, it's sharing your story in a way that empowers others. So it's really about that, the people that you're here to serve. And that's really sort of the thing that is in the back of my mind. The other thing I was going to say was that I completely forgot. Oh my God, this episode's all over the place.
It's okay. Can I just say something?
Yes, Randa, say it.
I just want to say that, I had mentioned that to you before, but I want the audience to know that as well. That, um, you know how I'm always talking about feminine leadership and what it feels like in this day and age, and how women such as yourself and me as well were redefining so many concepts, and this is not an easy job. You feeling that something so intimate to me as my like my spirituality, it's intimate and it's like very precious to me, and to see it um used in a certain way that doesn't align with my own truth, and then um also like wanting to do something about that, and then um there's this other resistance that is showing up also inside of you. um I think it's so powerful of you to step into that place and be the feminine leader that you are, in terms of you know overcoming that resistance, and like paving the way for other for the next generation to come to feel okay about redefining concepts for themselves, because for so long we have been taught to do things one way. If you're going to do spirituality, you should do it that way. If you're going to do coaching, you should do it that way. And what we are doing, you and I and so many women all around the world, is no, we're gonna do it our way, the feminine way,
Yeah.
the way that is an authentic expression of who we are at core. There's nothing easy about that. So I want to acknowledge you and every woman out there who is on that journey of redefining these concepts to herself and to the whole world.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that. I feel the love that you're sending, and I always feel the support that you have been such a pillar of support whenever I have any sort of these type of thoughts. The fact that I can share them with you is brings me so much peace and a lot of support, of course. But really, what we're really one of the things, the points that we're really trying to drive home here is being able to relate when we all come from different backgrounds is possible, even though like the being not being able to relate is one of the fears that we've had. It's not, because people reach out to us from all different backgrounds, all different colors, and that everybody relates to that challenge of feeling like they can't relate. So even if
Mm,
their fear of not relating is different to mine, the fact is everyone has that same fear. Am I relatable? And good humans who worry about stuff like that, I mean, that is such a huge hope to have, that
yeah,
people want to, we
absolutely.
love belonging, we love connecting, we love, you know, having a community. So it is possible, but it does require everyone to step forward and be in the messy awkwardness and the uncomfortable feeling of being different and wanting to own that. It's not going to always feel pretty, it's not always going to feel empowering, but that is what empowerment is about. Willing to step into that disempowered belief, owning that until it you feel empowered by it. Is this making sense?
Definitely, absolutely, yeah. And like you said, um, it is how we build this empathy within ourselves. It's how we like, because we want to be relatable. It's because of that part within us that wants to connect. This is how we um, build that quality truly in everything that we do, in every message that we share. It's about that empathy, and that is something the world needs a lot more of. So
For
that's, to
sure.
me, feminine leadership.
I love that. And before we go, we know the world needs more courage and love right now and compassion right now, and not more panic. So we're going to wrap this up by a quick heart math technique called the heart lock in. We're going to just do it for a minute or so. You can continue doing this once the episode ends, but we wanted to just kind of segue into this, right? So in order to do this, we're just going to close our eyes. You can put your hand on your heart area or chest area if you want to. You don't have to. Focus your attention in the area of the heart. Imagine your breath flowing in and out of your heart or your chest area. Breathing a little deeper and slower than usual. Inhaling for 5 seconds and exhaling for 5 seconds. So whatever rhythm is comfortable. And as you continue to focus in this area of the heart and breathe through it, I want you to make a sincere attempt to activate a regenerative feeling such as love, compassion, courage in your heart area. Allow your heart to act as a radiator of these regenerative feelings. And with each breath in and out, I want you to radiate this feeling of love, compassion, courage to every single cell in your body. Allow this radiation to move outside of your body to your immediate surroundings. Continue to breathe and radiate these feelings of love, compassion, and courage to people around you, in your city, in the world, who are in panic right now. All the healthcare workers and frontline civic servants who are serving their people, of their countries, of their cities. Everyone who's affected by this virus right now actually has contracted this virus. And extend this radiation to the ones who've lost their loved ones to this virus. We're now going to go ahead and end this episode, but you can continue to radiate this to anyone you want to, even yourself, just to allow you to sit in love and mindfulness and presence instead of thinking worst case scenarios, which is going to be very easy to do right now. But try not to panic, really. Don't lose your shit, people. You can edit this. Thanks for being here, Rhonda. Thanks for being here for me. And yeah, thank you for today. And we will come back with another episode in 2 weeks' time. Until then, take care, stay safe, wash your hands.
Yes.
Bye. Bye, everyone.